Hello, I'm Tech Guru's English teacher, and I'm here to teach you some tips. Today, we are going to talk about comparatives and superlatives. Well, we use comparatives and superlatives to say how people or things are different. We use a comparative adjectives to express how two people or things are different. And we use a superlative adjective to show how one person or thing is different to all the others of its kind. Let's start with the comparative adjectives. These adjectives enable us to express the difference between two people or things. In order to say that someone or something has a superior quality, size, or characteristic, you need to use more. Instead, when you want to say that someone or something has an inferior quality, size, or characteristic, you must use less. Let's start with the word more. The way we make a comparative with more depends on the length of the word. There are three different cases. Number one, more for long adjectives. If an adjective has two or more syllables, we add the word more in front of it to create the comparative form. For example, this hotel is more expensive than the last hotel we stayed at. Expensive is the adjective, is a very long adjective, and we add more at the beginning. Let's continue with the number two, ER for short adjectives. If an adjective has one syllable or two syllables with Y as the second syllable, we add ER to create the comparative. For example, your house is bigger than mine. As you can see, we add ER and we also add a letter G. But why? Because if an adjective ends in a vowel and consonant, you need to double the final consonant. Here we have the vowel, the consonant, we double the consonant and we add ER. And the number three, the irregular comparatives. As is often the case in English, there are some adjectives that are irregular and don't follow these rules. Here are some irregular comparatives: good, better, bad, and worse, and more. For example, arriving late is worse than arriving early. Let's continue with less. We use less to say that someone or something has an inferior quality, size, or characteristic. It's easy to use because you simply put less in front of any adjective. For example, walking is less tiring than running. We also use comparatives to describe how something or someone changes. We can use two comparative with an. Everything is getting more and more expensive. Or show that one thing depends on another. The higher they climb, the colder it got. When they climb higher, it got colder. Let's continue with the superlative adjectives. We use superlatives to compare one person or thing to several others. In a similar way to comparatives, there are two ways to use superlatives. When you want to say that one person or thing is superior to all others in that group, you need to use the most. And when you want to say that one person or thing is inferior to all others in the group, you need to use the least. Okay? Let's start with the most. Similarly to comparative, we use the most in different ways according to the length of the adjectives. The most for long adjectives as number one. If an adjective has two or more syllables, again, the same as in comparatives, we add the most in front to create the superlative form. For example, it's the most difficult part of my job. Number two, EST for short adjective. If an adjective has one syllable or two syllables with Y as the second syllable, we add EST to create the superlative. For example, it's the shortest route to the stadium. Again, if adjective ends in a vowel and consonant, you need to double the final consonant, like saddest, fittest, etc. This is not the case. Short is a short adjective. So we only add est, shortest. And it ends in 2 consonants, so we don't double any consonant. Let's continue with the irregular superlatives. The same adjectives that are irregular for comparatives are also irregular for the superlatives form. Good, best, bad, worst. For example, is this the best place to eat in town? And the least, on the other hand, we use it to say that someone or something has an inferior quality, size, or characteristic compared to all other of its type. Simple, put the least in front of any adjective. For example, the least difficult tense in English is the present simple. Do you agree? And finally, as. There is another way to compare people and things in English, which is using as plus an adjective and again as. We use this form to say that things are or aren't the same. For example, I am as tall as my brother. We are the same height. This book isn't as good as that one. The quality of the books is not the same. Okay? Well, you already know. If you want to continue learning English with me, join me at Tech Gurus. Bye!